when I indicate. Although you want to sing, you wait for my cue. Okay? Let's do it. He is the cause of all causes. He has no origin other than himself. Everything is emanating from him. I just worship. He is not void or impersonal. His form is spiritual, not material, and his beauty is the most attractive. We belong to He is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. He is the reservoir of all our pleasure. Govinda, Govinda, black and beautiful. Ishwara Paramaha, Krishna, Sachidananda, Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the goal of meditation. And when you chant his name, he reveals himself. He's far beyond the range of sense perception. Everyone, Govinda, Govinda. No one's greater than Govinda. One more time. Twamadi Deva Purusha Puranas Twamasya Visvasya Param Nidhanam. Govinda, Govinda, black and beautiful. One more. And with no effort he controls the cosmos. He is the source of the whole creation. Black and beautiful. Louder. Stronger. Everybody. Ladies. Men. Ladies, we're better. Everybody. Men. Ladies. Men, why are you letting ladies do better than you? Come on, man. 1, 2, 3, everybody. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. Okay. Govinda. All right. So, there's so much in this song because I took almost every verse from something that's there in either Gita or Bhagavatam or the Brahma Samhita. So, the first verse, He is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. That is another definition of the absolute truth. We, you and I, we are relative truth. We are truth, but relative truth. Why does that mean, relative truth? Our existence is not independent. Our existence is dependent on Krishna. And the example is the sun and the sun ray. The sun ray cannot exist independent of the sun planet. They exist simultaneous. But the sun ray cannot exist unless there is the sun planet. So the sun globe represents Krishna and all the living entities, all the different energies. Krishna, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Sriyate, the Upanishads say, that the absolute truth has immense Shaktis or energies, variously known, generally categorized as the material energy, the spiritual energy, and the living entity energy. We are an energy. Same thing Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 7. First, Krishna explains the eightfold material separated energies. Bhumir apanalo vayu kang mano buddhir evacha ahankar itiyang me binna prakritir ashtadha. Separated material energies. Prabhupada explained what it means, separated. Just like I am recording this lecture into my tape recorder and in the video. Then later, it'll wind up on my YouTube and Facebook pages. And it'll play back exactly everything that I just said. But it's separate from me. I walk away, I'm still doing other things. And every time you play that tape, it plays back exactly as I'm speaking now. It's my separated energy. So, these eightfold material energies, Krishna said, Binna prakrita ashtadha. My 8 separated material energies. But then the next verse in chapter 7, he says, but besides these, there's another superior energy. So that's important. This material energy is inferior, according to Krishna. Anybody going to argue with Krishna? Good. I'm glad, because we would lose an argument with Krishna. So, he says, there is a superior energy. What is that superior energy? Jiva Bhuta. The living entity, you. Me too. Not that I'm something different. No, we are all Jiva Bhuta, the living entity. And then the line, Yedam Dharyate Jagat. It is because of us that this material world exists. That's why it exists. Because we want to enjoy. Separate from Krishna. So Krishna says, oh, you want to enjoy separate from me? I have to create a playpen. Just like children, I don't know if you, but when I was a kid, you would have a young child in a playpen. A durga, a fort. Okay? And the child could go from one corner to another, but the mother was allowed to do her housework. Otherwise, the child will go all over the house. So you restrict them. You just stay here in the playpen. Have your fun. I've got work to do. So the material world is a playpen. So Krishna has created the material world so that we can try to enjoy. So Krishna says, oh, you want to be like me? You want to enjoy like me? Go ahead. Go to Santiago. Have your fun. Or go to Los Angeles, whatever. So the living entity is a spiritual energy and it's superior. The soul is superior. That's also explained in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that there are the objects of the senses, sight, sound, taste, form, touch, the different objects of the senses. But the living entity is higher than the sense objects. But higher than the living entity is Supersoul, Paramatma. And higher than Paramatma is, yes, Krishna. Because Paramatma is Krishna's expansion. But the key thing is we are not material. We are the spiritual energy. That's why the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, you're not your body. You're soul. And as soul, you are superior energy. But Krishna is the cause of all causes, the cause of all energies. Then, Anadir Adi Govinda. He has no origin other than himself. This is a rough one, because we all have experience. We come from our parents, who come from their parents, back. It all starts back with Lord Brahma at the time of creation. But Brahma was manifested by who? Who manifested Brahma? Which one? No. Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Who was manifested by? Mahavishnu. Who is manifested by Sankarshan? Who is manifested by Narayan? Who is manifested by Mahasankarshan? Who is manifested by Krishna? And Krishna was manifested by Krishna. The buck stops with Krishna. Yes, that's the idea. He is the origin. He has no other origin other than himself. And everything is emanating from him, as is explained in Bhagavad Gita himself. In the first of the Chatushloki of Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava Mattak Sarvam Pravartate. Everything comes from me. Everything. Whether it be material or spiritual. That's also in chapter 7. After those two verses, the material energy, the spirit, then the next verse is, whether it be material, spiritual, Krishna says, it comes from me. Everything is emanating from Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda. Now this next line. He is not void or impersonal. Now, it is clearly stated, Vadanti tat tattva vadas tattvam yajganam advayam. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. The absolute truth is realized in three features. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. But Brahman and Paramatma are partial realizations or understanding of the absolute truth. Full realization of the absolute truth is Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulence, Van, possessor of. So Krishna or his personal expansions such as Narayan, Vishnu, they are his personal expansions. They are possessors of all the opulences. Brahman is the effulgence from Krishna's body. That is what is Brahman, Krishna's effulgence. And Paramatma is Krishna's reflection in this material world, within the heart of every living being. As Bhishma said on his deathbed, Bhishma was about to give up his life. He was lying on what kind of bed? Bed of arrows, yes. And he's about to die, and who's at his feet? Krishna. Right. What a way to go. Huh? What better way to give up your life than with Krishna right there at your feet? You cannot be in Maya in that situation. You're looking at Krishna about to give up your life. Wow. But Krishna agreed to that, because even though Bhishma fought on the other side, Bhishma still is Mahajan, one of the 12 authorities on the science of bhakti, even though he was on the other side. That was the role he had to play, because it was a drama. So somebody has to play good guy, somebody has to play bad guy. So Bhishma took that role. But on his deathbed, Bhishma was looking at Krishna. He offered prayers. So one of the prayers, Bhishma was saying that Krishna, the sun is one, but if you have so many water pots, noonday sun in Delhi, how hot is that? In, say, May? Is it hot enough for you? Okay? So the sun, and there's no clouds because that comes in June, July, right? The monsoon. I know because the first time I went to India was June. And yeah, the monsoons came and I said, oh, okay, this is interesting. So, noonday sun, and you have, let's say, 100 water pots, the sun will be reflected in every water pot. In every water pot, you'll see a reflection of the sun, yes? But they're only reflections. That's not the real sun. The real sun, there's only one sun. So Bhishma was saying, in the same way, Krishna, you are one, but you are reflected in everyone's heart as Param Atma, Super Soul. So therefore, your Krishna is the same as my Krishna. It's not that they're competing. It's the same Krishna. But interestingly enough, that same one Krishna will behave differently with each person. Because you're devotees, the Krishna in your heart is constantly helping you to become Krishna conscious. But the same Krishna was in the heart of Ravana, was in the heart of Hiranyakashipu, and in the heart of Kamsa, telling him how to become a demon. They didn't do that independently. They needed Krishna's help, how to be a demon. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham riddhisani vishta mataksmitir jnanam apohanang cha. From me, Krishna says, comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Prabhupada tells a nice story. There's a thief. The thief wants to rob your house. You're away on some party. You're nobody's home. So the thief has calculated, now I'm going to go in there and rob. So who's helping the thief? Krishna in the heart. But also there's a policeman. And the policeman, Krishna is also telling the policeman, hey, go right now. There's a thief breaking into that house. Same Krishna, but reciprocating according to how the individual wants to act. Krishna is neutral. You want to be Krishna's enemy? Krishna says, okay, I'll tell you how to be my enemy. I'll tell you how to hate me forever. But that's what you want. Or you want to be my devotee? I'll tell you how to be my devotee. Come to Naresh's house. That's why you came. You came because Krishna in your heart prompted you. And stop watching television. Go to Naresh's house. Get off YouTube. Come to Naresh's house. So, Krishna has these features. Then it says his form is spiritual, not material. Our forms are material. We all know that. We have these material forms. But Krishna has a form, but it's a spiritual form. That's a hard one. Because we don't have any experience of a spiritual form. We haven't seen it yet. But there is a thing called spiritual form. So on this point, because we cannot see spirit, we're not on that platform, that we can't see spirit. That's why we worship deities. Because this question comes up all the time. The non-Hindus, they say, oh, you worship idols. And I say to them, I'm not worshiping an idol. You worship idol. American Idol. You worship money. You worship movie stars. You worship stupid politicians. I'm not worshiping idols. I'm worshiping God. Now, but everybody knows it looks like a statue, doesn't it? Right? You can't deny it. Either it's made of marble or in the form of Jagannath wood, or they have brass deities. There's also the deity made of jewels, or sometimes they do a deity in the sand, or they make one out of mud. The gopis, they worship goddess Katyayani. It was a form of Durga, because that was the thing they had to do in the first month of the winter season. The young Hindu girls, they worship goddess Katyayani to get a good husband. So the gopis, they would go into the Yamuna, freezing cold every day to take bath for 1 month. And they were worshiping goddess Katyayani. So, all the girls were praying privately. None of them were saying anything, but each girl was praying to goddess Katyayani, I want Krishna as my husband. What's Krishna going to do now? All the girls want to marry him. How can he do it? So he did it. That's another story, not for today. But he did it. Basically, he told the girls, wait 1 year. 1 year, I will satisfy your desire. And what happened? He danced rasa dance. And in that way, they were Krishna's girlfriends, or whatever word you want to use, for 1 night. But how long? A day of Brahma. That 1 night lasted millions and millions of years. That means they're still dancing. Because that only took place 5,000 years ago. So they're still dancing. The night hasn't ended. But I don't see it. Of course you don't see it. Because you don't have transcendental vision. We're not on that platform. So because we're not on the spiritual platform, we need to worship deities. That's why we worship. It is called Archa Vigraha. And the Archa Vigraha agrees to let you handle, so that you have some concept. As the song says, you are a person. Krishna, that's why Bhagavan means person, supreme person. So the deity is there to help fix the conception that God is a person. Yes, God is in the heart. That's there in Bhagavad Gita, but can you see? And if you wanted to see by meditation, you need thousands of years to come to the point of seeing Krishna in the heart. Okay, it takes thousands of years. Yes, there were a few examples of people who got it very quickly. Dhruva, yes, Dhruva was very quick. Narada. But even in the case of Narada, Krishna appeared to him and then disappeared and said, you're not going to see me for the rest of your life. Yeah, Krishna's tricky. Okay? So if you want to actually, we're talking about actually realizing the form of Krishna in the heart. That takes thousands of years. That was doable in Satya Yuga when people could live 100,000 years. Anybody living that long? 100,000? No. So in this age, meditation, actually seeing God in the heart, is impossible. Impossible. What to speak of the whole atmosphere. You can't do proper meditation in a big city like Santiago. When the sages and rishis would meditate, where would they go? Yeah, not to Disneyland. They want to go in the forest where there's no distraction, right? And then there's the actual process. It's not so easy. Very, I could never do it. No way. I can't even do the yoga that they teach nowadays. My wife tried to show me. I said, forget it. I can't turn like a pretzel. But the point is, in Satya Yuga, yes, everybody was on that Paramahamsa platform from birth. Their senses were controlled. They didn't have nasty material desires. They were very much in the mode of goodness, so they could nicely do meditation, and after 10, 20,000 years, they could actually perceive the Supersoul in his form. Even the Supersoul has a form. It's not some light. There's a form of the Super. Paramatma has a form. It's described by Kapila Dev in the 3rd canto. How he dresses, what are the symbols in his hand. He has curly, bluish tinted hair. The description is, it's there in the 2nd canto. In the 2nd canto, there's a whole chapter, the Lord in the Heart. And in 3rd canto, Kapil Dev gives 1 or 2 chapters about the process of meditation. Then there's the chapter, the Shiva Gita, in the 4th canto, where Lord Shiva is instructing the prachetas that this is how you perform meditation. And Lord Shiva gives a detailed explanation of how the Lord in the Heart looks. Detailed. His feet, the ornaments, the dress, the face. It's a very long chapter, the Shiva Gita. Very long, very detailed. Lord Shiva is explaining. So even the meditation of Krishna in the heart is personal. So in this age, Kali Yuga, we need all the help we can get. So worship the deity is essential. It's essential to help fix that God has a personal form. And these deities are not made whimsically. Like I said at the very beginning, these days in Kali Yuga, people want to make up their own process. But you cannot make up what the deity looks like. No. The deity has to be made a certain way. And then I spent the whole morning today, I spent several hours reading about, there's one chapter in the Uddhava Gita, which is in the 11th canto. So one chapter, Krishna goes into detail how to worship the deity. It's not easy. Very detailed. How you're to, if you really want to do, and Prabhupada even said, Prabhupada told us, he said, if I was to show you all the rules of actually how to worship a deity, you won't faint. So Prabhupada gave us a very simple method of worshiping the deity. Because the real standard is extremely difficult. I know in South India, they have a very high standard. Am I right? Very high standard, especially Tirupati, Rameshwaram, Ranganath. It's a very elaborate, and the pujaris and the Brahmins, they dedicate their whole life. They have to study, they have to learn all the procedures, the tantras, the mantras, yantras, yantra, mantra, tantra. Good. The water is fine. Come on in. We got room for everybody. We'll squeeze in somehow or the other. So, God allows you to handle Him so that you get some conception of serving the personal form of the Lord. So, in the temples, let's say the ISKCON temples, there's a strict schedule. 4:30, you have to do the Mangalarti. But before the Mangalarti, there has to be sweets. And how do you offer this? There's a standard way. It has to have the tulsi leaf. Krishna will not eat unless there's tulsi leaf. Very important. Then what prayers are to be chanted? Then there's Mangalarti. Then there's cleaning of the deity. Then there's dressing. Then there's another prayers and worship, and it goes throughout the whole day. And in, say, Jagannath Puri, how many times he's 56. Pretty good. 56. So worship on the deity is to help the devotee become more advanced. There's another item about deity worship, because deity worship also teaches you two essential things: punctuality and cleanliness. If you actually want to worship the deity, you have to be clean. You have to take your bath, you have to have clean clothes, and you have to be punctual. That's my favorite story. In Prabhupada's ISKCON temples, 7 o'clock, the doors are supposed to open. So the dressing can go on from, say, 5:15 to 7 o'clock. So they have to bathe the deities, dress the deities, ornament. But at 7 o'clock, the doors are supposed to open, and that Govindam prayer, right? So one temple, Prabhupada was at the temple, and Prabhupada was looking at his watch. 7:01, the doors didn't open. He took his cane, knocked on the door. Open! Because the pujaris were still fiddling. Okay, we got to do this, we got to do this. Prabhupada said, no. 7 o'clock, the doors open. So deity worship teaches you, and he told us, because we're Americans, he told us that you have to be revolutionary clean. Not just clean, revolutionary clean. Means clean, 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 clean. Clean clothes, clean body, and clean heart. Because even before you enter the deity doors, you have to say prayers to get your mind focused. And then after the puja, you say more prayers. My dear Lord, I know I have committed offenses. Please forgive the offenses. There are certain mantras that you chant even after the worship. All this is to purify the conditioned soul from bad materialistic habits. By worshiping the deity, you become more in the mode of goodness. You become more Brahminical. So deity worship is essential. Besides, of course, the main thing is what? Taking prasad? No, the main thing is what? Yes, that's the main thing. But in order to chant purely and come quickly to the pure stage of chanting, worship of the deity is essential. You can't do without it. Yes, Krishna is in the heart. Just like one time where I am in Los Angeles, one lady was saying, I asked her, did you offer the food? She goes, no, Krishna is everywhere, so I just offered it. I said, no, it doesn't work that way. Krishna is everywhere. Okay, Krishna, accept. No, that's not how it works. You have to offer to the deity, or at least to a picture. We're not on that platform where I'm seeing Krishna 24 hours a day. No. Deity. And here, where did your wife, hey, you're supposed to be over here. So here you have nice deities, nice dress. You're offering every day? Good. Is Krishna happy? You think so? Yeah, he's smiling. And Radharani is nice and close. One time on the altar in one temple, they had Radharani and Krishna far apart. Prabhupada said, no. It has to be close together. So we worship the deity in order to fix that God is a person. All right, everybody chant Hare Krishna.